Soccer is one of the most popular sports worldwide, and heading the ball is a technique commonly used in the game. However, recent research has begun to show that this practice can have long-term negative effects on brain health, especially when performed repeatedly. In this article, we explore the risks associated with using the head to strike the ball and its impact on neurons and the brain. What happens when we hit the ball with our head? When a player heads a shot, the ball impacts with great force on the front of the skull. This causes a transfer of energy to the brain, which can result in small injuries to brain cells and surrounding structures. Although most players do not suffer immediate damage, repeated concussions or impacts over time can have cumulative effects. Short-term effects. In the short term, players who head the ball may experience certain symptoms, such as headache. Repeated blow to the head may trigger temporary headaches. Dizziness and confusion. In some cases, players may feel dazed or have trouble concentrating after a hard shot. Blurred or altered vision. The energy of the impact may temporarily affect vision. Although these symptoms are usually temporary, if they recur frequently, they can affect the player's long-term well-being. Long-term effects on the brain. Scientific research has shown that repeated impacts to the head, even those that do not cause an obvious concussion, can have long-term detrimental effects on the brain. Possible effects include accumulation of brain microtrauma. Frequent impacts can cause small injuries to brain cells, known as microtrauma. These microtraumas can accumulate over time and alter brain function. Cognitive problems. Some studies have found that soccer players who practice frequent headers may experience cognitive impairment in areas such as memory, critical thinking and concentration. These effects may become more noticeable as players age. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy (CTE) risk. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy is a degenerative brain disease associated with repeated concussions. Although this condition has been linked primarily to football and other contact sports, some studies suggest that soccer players are also at risk, due to repeated impacts to the head. Alteration in brain structure. The accumulated neuronal damage from head impacts can lead to changes in brain structure, such as a decrease in brain volume, which can have an impact on the cognitive and emotional function of players. What do the scientific studies say? Several studies have pointed to the link between headers in soccer and neurological problems. In particular, research conducted by the University of Glasgow in 2017 revealed that professional soccer players who frequently head kick have an increased risk of developing cognitive problems later in life. On the other hand, a 2020 study from Boston University found that the brains of soccer players who perform frequent headers show signs of damage similar to that seen in people who have suffered repeated concussions. What precautions to take? Although heading is an essential skill in soccer, there are some preventive measures that can help reduce the risks. Proper training. It is essential to teach young players how to head safely, using proper techniques to minimize impact. Use of protection. Some experts suggest the use of special helmets or headgear for matches or training, especially for younger players. Symptom monitoring. Players who experience dizziness, persistent headaches or concentration problems after a head shot should be evaluated by medical professionals. Reduce headbutt training. The Fédération Internationale de Football Association, FIFA, and other organizations are recommending limiting the number of headers in training to reduce the risk of long-term brain damage. Conclusion. Although heading is an important skill in soccer, the negative effects of this repeated impact on the head should not be underestimated. Soccer players, especially young players, should be aware of the potential risks to brain health and take appropriate preventative measures. The long-term effects on the brain and neurons are of concern, and more research is needed to fully understand the risks of this type of physical activity in contact sports.